How has life been for you?
So I've been just basically planning out this podcast and working on my applications, trying to find a job. And honestly, I'm being completely candid here. I did not think that this podcast would come out of conversations on the call or text.
Yeah.
But here we are, and welcome everyone to the Cuppa show. This is a formal invite and a formal welcome and a warm one. This is our very first journey that we're embarking on. And, this is a child, and we're extremely proud of it. And I love to see where it goes. And I do plan to keep doing this. And Dhananjay will tell you our intentions on what we plan to do here with this podcast.
So before I get to that, first of all, another disclaimer. This is not going to be a 30-second clip. Why? Okay, why do I say that? Our attention spans have decreased dramatically. And we are so addicted to the 6, 7, 8 seconds clip. It's like Vine is coming back all over again. I miss that platform. Vine used to be really nice.
Vine was a gold mine of content. And the creators that come out of Vine, King Bash,
Logan Paul, the Paul brothers. Yeah.
He deserves the world. He's a great actor, great comedic timing. And I haven't really resonated with most of the TikTok stars that have come across to the platform. And I was never really even active on TikTok. But I do have this interesting topic that I would like to pick up, which is Reels. And how kind of Instagram and Reels have brainwashed us in a way. So I was scrolling through Instagram. My phone was on mute. I could not hear, the sound was off. And I come across this reel, and the tune or the song of the reel started playing in my mind. Like, you could guess the way the content is made, and you could guess what kind of song or music will be played.
I think one component which is really significant and we should put it to light on here is the infinite scroll. So the infinite scroll is when you keep scrolling through an app and it keeps showing you new stuff again and again and again. There's no stop. So what happens is you get into this habit of having constantly being refreshed with new content. Yeah. So this happens the most in TikTok. It's known for its algorithm. It's banned in our country, but it's by far the most addictive one. We have Reels. I think we also have Reels on Facebook now. I've been away from Facebook for the last 4 years. But do you think this is sustainable, this kind of content?
It's been sustainable since 2016. And since Vine shut down, there have been many other variations of it. And of course, the quality of the content can never stay the same. But since if you're in the middle of if you're a work shift, or you're in school, or you're in college, and you're just bored, you can just swift through content. You can't watch a 1 hour podcast or a 15 minute video.
I don't think we should be saying that right now.
I mean, this is so another main premise of having this podcast is to talk about touchy topics, talk about things that are controversial, and give our point of views on it, and try to challenge the viewers as well. So that's what we're doing. We have a lot of topics in mind, We'll try to cut out all the profanity. We will try, but...
I mean, it's definitely not an agenda to use profanity when it's not needed. It might be here or there, somewhere in between.
Give them a trigger warning.
Intended.
Give them a trigger warning.
Still, if you get offended by...
If you triggered easily, then this is not for you.
I mean, we won't do anything to do that on purpose, but it can happen, right?
Yeah.
People have become soft. We have become soft.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how the world has become. Gaming has become soft. A topic which is really dear to our heart. It's crazy.
Are you going to talk about Fall Guys?
Man, Fall Guys, I think it's a great game by itself.
A great game.
But I think a whole generation of younger kids growing up on Fall Guys might not be the best thing. Okay, why do I say that? Because we grew up playing Call of Duty, right? We grew up.
And the only thing it's actually bad for us because there's a lot of violence in that game. A lot of go violence, a lot of use of bad language.
I mean, it's not just about the gameplay itself. I think it's more about the social environment which we used to have in the games back then. Back then, there used to be no private parties or private Discord channels, right? There used to be a public PSN lobby where there would be 16 people howling at each other all night, all day.
God.
Yeah. So that kind of conditions you in a way where you won't get offended by the first thing that someone says to you who doesn't know you. So maybe it conditions you for the real world in a way.
Very true.
So I think that is something which we can consider positive of playing games at that time.
So I still have a section of ton of random dudes sending me the worst things you could possibly hear.
Exactly.
Yeah, the worst racial slurs. Like, I don't even know these racial slurs exist.
They make those things up.
They make those things up. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. And that's, you're very right. People do get offended very easily, especially the younger generation. And we are 21. We're not old. You're making me sound old. You make me sound old. I mean,
we're
still fairly young.
It's the Generation Z, right? The Generation Z gets a really bad rep for the whole cancel culture and everything. But It's strange, man. I think internet we live in the information age, right? So when the first thing which you expect out of people when they have such a powerful tool at their disposal is not just to cancel everyone who they think does not agree with them.
And talking about cancel culture, I want to talk about patriarchy and matriarchy. And I wanted to kind of put it out there that yes, men have been in control of families and politics and everything for a long, long while. And it just happened to be that they were in control. And I feel like without a lead, without a person who's appointed the basic responsibilities, the main responsibilities for a family, it's going to be dysfunctional. I think there needs to be a head of the family. There needs to be, may it be a woman or a man.
The conversation is that, does it have to be the man?
It doesn't have to be the man per se. Like I said, it could have been the woman.
Yeah.
And if you search up on Google right now, why is patriarchy bad? The first thing that comes up, because of all the mishaps that happen in the world, poverty, wars, economy. I mean, I'm going to ask you this question.
Yep.
If women were head of society,
yeah,
do you think wars would not have happened? That is, go ahead. I'll let you answer that.
I would say the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear that is wars would still have happened, maybe in a different way. Maybe the format would have.
I have seen women fight over the shade of a lipstick.
So maybe the warfare would be more psychological, right? It doesn't have to be
psychological.
Yeah. Psychological warfare is a big thing, right? Maybe the warfare is cyber for what it's worth. It doesn't have to be brutal force.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of these people who talk against patriarchy, they say that there should be an equal say for everyone in the family, but that is just wrong. That leads to dysfunction, and that leads to being out of touch with your family. And I feel like there needs to be a symbolized head of the family. May it be your mother, your father, your sister, whoever is a person who can take financial decisions very well and who can take emotional decisions also. They should be appointed the head of the family. It doesn't need to be a man, doesn't need to be a woman.
But on the flip side, here's what I think. I think that there shouldn't really even be a conversation when people are talking, when they're referring to other people. Because for every household, it's different, right? It's a different story. No matter how much we say, we would never know what goes in someone else's house. We don't know who's the right person for being the leader of the house. Maybe some families are without leaders. Maybe they look at other people or different family members or maybe relatives to be the leader of the family. So we never know. But I think some people going out and telling what's right or what's not right for other people, I just think being in the business of telling people what's right or wrong is not correct by itself. What's right or wrong? We don't know, right? Like, I don't want to go all philosophical into this, but what's right for me might be wrong for you. And I'm not saying that use this notion and go and do unlawful things, but it's very hard to explain the concept of right or wrong to some people. Like, good luck with that. And especially in a country where there's 1 billion people.
Well, there is a very fair point why women are not a part of, high profile jobs. They're not CEOs or CFOs for a lot of companies that we know. I mean, there's not one company that comes to my mind where a woman is a CEO or a woman is the founder.
I think it's changing.
All right.
But
it is changing for sure.
If you'll ask me to name some at the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's changing.
Exactly. That's kind of sad that I don't know any of them. I have no company in mind where the woman is the.
But does it matter?
Oh, YouTube, I think.
No,
I think YouTube. I think YouTube.
Susan,
Susan. Yeah.
But the question is, does it matter? Like, is the objective to know if the person is a man or woman or someone else, or
who is more competent? Yeah.
It's all about competency, right? I think it should be based on merit. It doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're a dog, if you're an alien. It doesn't matter. If you can get the job done, you can get the job done. If you can get the numbers up, you can get the numbers up. If the number goes up, everyone's happy. Number goes down, no one's happy.
A dog CEO? Woof woof charts?
Man, we're living in crazy times, man. We don't know.
Woof woof pie charts?
Dogs, Doge.
No, we're not talking about Doge.
Wasn't that your first crypto purchase?
My first and only. I doubled my money.
That's great. You basically outperformed 90% of the market.
I bought it at 25 rupees per piece. 24 rupees per piece.
I like how you bought it per piece. Yeah.
And I sold it for 50 rupees per piece.
That's great.
And a week later, I see it at 13. And I was like, oh my, how can you go from 50 to 13? And that's when I realized.
That's the nature of the game, right?
Of the crypto, yeah. That's what I realized, that crypto is, if you sleep for one day, if you don't look at your phone, Twitter, Reddit, or wherever you're trading, you're gone. You won't survive this game. You won't survive cryptocurrency if you're not on your phone 24/7.
But that's the thing, right? You should know the nature of the game before you dive in.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If you're diving in just because your favorite Indian celebrity is shilling it on YouTube or on in between cricket matches, I have bad news for you. Because let's just say that it's a game where hands are exchanged, right? Money goes from the hands of one people to other people, just like any other market.
Yeah.
But the only difference is it happens pretty fast. You might call it a scam. Well, it's a scam only if you lose money, right? If you're making money, is it a scam if you're making money? I don't think so. I've never heard
I know what a scam
about
is.
it.
I know what a scam is.
So I've never heard anyone cribbing about it.
I know what a scam is. Can I tell you what a scam is?
Tell me.
Taxing 30% on something that has not been legalized.
But that's the
That
thing, right?
taxing, I don't understand how the government works, how the Indian government works, but how can you tax something that is not legalized yet?
No, but that's the thing, right? How do we know it's legal? We know it's legal,
It's not legal.
because it's not illegal.
It's not legal. They said it's not legal.
But they never said it's illegal.
But
that's the conversation, right?
They've put a 30% tax. So
Yeah, they have.
It's kind of self-explanatory that it is legal.
So that's the thing, right? They wanted to
But they
ban it,
haven't-
but they didn't want to look bad on
But they
paper.
haven't made any other policy. They just put a tax.
But they don't care about it,
and
right?
on income, not on profit. On income. That's the worst part.
Pretty much banned, but it's not legally banned, but it's banned because you can't really make any money off of it. But I get their point, when you have Indian stocks going up 2,000% in 2 years after COVID, they don't really
let's
need
talk about
BTC, right?
let's talk about the second richest man in India. In the world. I'm sorry, not in India. In the world. Adani.
Adani is a mad lad. In a good way. In a good way. Don't kill me.
Don't kill me.
No, but he is one hell of a guy from what I've known about him. He was worth 6 to 7 billion 2 years back.
Has a ton of debt.
Ton of debt or all of the debt? I'm just kidding. I don't know. Adani is a very interesting person, and the only problem that I have with his growth is, even though it doesn't matter if I have a problem or not, but the only problem that I do have is, if allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, even if it's facts, I don't know. I don't want to get caught for no reason. I don't want to be dead tomorrow. So 250,000 CR worth of loan is on the guy, right? On the guy's head. I talked to this with a good friend of mine. He told me that Adani is too big to fail. Nothing is going to happen to him. I agree. Fine, he's too big to fail.
But what if he's a glorified Lalit Modi?
But the point is, there should never be such a big single point of failure in any economy, in any country. A country which has more than 1 billion people, there should never be such a single point of failure. What if Adani goes down? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, right? But that's the good thing about stocks and the markets and financial markets. No one knows what they're talking about.
Wherever, and they also make these fluff fancy words. So the people who are already illiterate, like there is less than 5% of the whole of India's population trading actively in the share market.
Okay.
Why is that so? Because there's no financial literacy. There's very minimal financial literacy, I'd say. 27%, I'd say less than 20, I say around 25% have financial literacy in India. And that is the reason why they're not trading. And after what happened with Kingfisher and then Modi, why would they? Why would they take such a risk? I would assume that these guys are made people. These guys are on news. These guys sit with the prime ministers.
Yeah.
So I can invest my money, but he's just a scammer.
But you need to treat it like a game that it is, because when it's a game, there's always going to be players bigger than you. And when you enter, you're a small fish. There's always going to be whales bigger than you. So what do? Do you cry about it, or do you try to become one? I'm not saying you're going to be sitting along the big guys just right when you start off, but I think markets are a great place. They've humbled me a lot personally. They've taught me a lot.
Yeah,
and I've been engaged in the markets for almost 2 years now. And it has been a wild ride, man. I've made some money, lost some money, then made it back, then lost it all over again, then made some of it back. And it teaches you a lot about yourself as a person.
What do you think about mutual funds?
Mutual funds are a great instrument for people. I mean, it depends on the risk appetite, right? I don't want to be talking.
There is almost none. There's compounding interest makes doubles, triples, makes it 10 times, and it takes a while. It takes a while.
Yeah, it takes time.
But apparently there's this short. At the end of the day, the broker's earning a lot of money. The broker's earning a lot of money because half the people.
That's the thing. If you're 21, I think your risk appetite is far higher than a person who's in his 40s or 50s who has a family.
Yeah, my father loves SIPs.
I get that. But for you, who's in his, late teens or early 20s, mid 20s, later 20s, maybe early 30s, I think depending on your financial condition or anyone else's, maybe people should increase the risk appetite a bit. Maybe, dabble with different few things.
That is the only reason why I dived into cryptocurrency. I remember waking up for the SNL or when Elon Musk was on SNL.
Yeah. That was the top.
I woke up at 7 a.m. At that point in time, I had no sleep schedule myself. I used to sleep neither do I. I slept at 4 a.m. and I woke up at 7 because I knew that something big is gonna happen in the market.
That was a sell the news event. So what a sell the news event is, basically everyone knows that a certain event is going to happen. So the price keeps going up. People keep on buying. The deviation
in the market in those 20-30 minutes was insane.
So what happens is when the news is out, when it's done, when the catalyst is over, what do people do? They sell. So one person sells and the other person, the new person, is like, fine, it dipped, I should buy it. It goes down further. It keeps dipping. Now the people who bought in later are selling. Then everyone is selling suddenly. So a lot of people are then underwater. And then finally people lose a lot of money and then people call it a scam. So as long as you're making money, it's great. When you start losing money, it's a scam.
So you would say cryptos are not a scam?
See, I wouldn't call any new technology outrightly a
Even
scam.
I wouldn't call crypto a scam, but like that's a lot of what.
But that's the thing, right? I would say most of it is pretty temporary.
Yeah.
Most of it is going to zero. There's no doubt about it. But that's the cost of new innovation, right? Even during the 2000s, early 2000s, during the dot-com bubble, there were a lot of companies which had insane valuations. They're at zero right now. But we still have the Amazon. We still have a couple of different companies. So every time such a big bubble happens, there are a few winners. And most of the other things end up going to zero. But that's just, as I always like to say, it's the nature of the game, right? You should know what you're getting yourself into.
All right.
And don't bet the house. Please, don't bet the house.
Yeah, never do that. All right. I think we're done with a lot of finance talk. I think we should move on to something that's a bit more interesting to...
Oh, by the way, the Queen's dead.
Okay. And? I think my reaction says a lot.
A lot of my friends seem to be quite sad about it.
I don't know.
I mean, I concur that from the story.
I like to say on record that no death should be celebrated, but not every one of them should be mourned either. I mean, she was our age when we were under British rule, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was our age.
Wow.
She was our age under British rule when we were under British rule, and
I'm sure she went to a lot of great parties
and had a lot of Indian.
Imagine the house parties at the palace.
I don't want to, because I feel like all the Indians would be cleaning and indication. But at the end of the day, she even like the biggest mess up that the British Empire did was Jallianwala Bagh, and how the Queen has acknowledged about it, but there hasn't ever been a proper apology from their side for Jallianwala Bagh. It has been acknowledged as a mishap. And that kind of doesn't sit right with me, because I'm not telling you to go down on your knees and apologize and cry about it, but at least acknowledge it properly, It's men, women and children were slaughtered.
Honestly, even if they do, it's not going to be like full-heartedly or something. It's going to be out of, just obligation. They don't mean it. And to be honest, I see a lot of those get our Kohinoor back and all these jokes whenever something like this happens. My point is that even after... feeling patriotic and feeling sad about what happened to us. That makes sense.
It's not about being patriotic.
No, I connect with that. But the thing is, do we still not glamorize that lifestyle? Or going to going to the UK?
Yeah.
We still do, right? We are still filling forms for UK universities as we criticize the same topic that we're talking about right now. How about that?
I kind of hit at home because I'm applying to colleges UK. But I would not leave my... I wouldn't forget about my image and who I am.
Yeah.
And I will always have this. I'm not being patriotic here. Neither do I hate everyone who's British. But I'm just kind of sad that us Indians lack a sense of community, which we could learn from the African American community.
And that's the reason why we got ruled for 200 years, right?
Exactly.
Because we never had a sense of... We still don't. We're still divided.
As I see all these heartbroken Instagram stories for Queen, RIP, oh my God, I'm going to miss you. You were the greatest. I'm cringing them. Like, how did this woman influence? Okay, she did influence our lives a lot. But Why does she matter to you so much?
But that's the thing, right? I don't think it matters to the people who are posting. It doesn't.
So it's just a post.
It's just a post, right? It's just to go about with the flow. Like whenever something new happens, everyone's posting about it. You feel the FOMO and you just start posting about it. When a very famous person dies, or when a new album comes out, or whenever something like that happens, whenever a new Drake album comes out, you'll see everyone posting, sharing the Spotify link to the album. They do it. I think it's out of a trend. I don't think people put much thought into it.
Maybe artists, I can understand. They listen to the artist. Oh my God, they're hyped. They want every Drake fan to listen if they don't know about it. That's fine. And mourning someone's death is a bit more complicated than that, because you mourn someone's death who has been extremely close to you, who has influenced your life. Not even influenced, but in like, say for example, a movie art, a filmmaker or an actor. So Ray Liotta died just a couple months ago, and I was extremely sad. So I did post a story about it. And when even Tentacion died, I was heartbroken, man. I was heartbroken. I
think personally the only celebrity death that has ever hit me was Kobe Bryant, for sure.
Oh.
Because I grew up watching a lot of NBA on the TV and used to always watch the Lakers play. And I used to not like the Lakers, to be honest, but it was always a pleasure. Nah, never. Because my cousin used to like them, and I was like, fine, if he's supporting Lakers, then I'll support the Celtics, but whatever. But the thing is, when you watch someone for so long on TV, you kind of develop some sort of a connection, if that makes any sense. So that kind of hit me a bit. But talking about the mourning part, which you just mentioned, I think mourning is something which should be done in silence, right? I think it's pretty personal. When you mourn for someone,
I mean, we can't really bind someone with rules when it comes to mourning.
Yeah.
But at least mourn someone's death that means a lot to you. Now, that person must mean a lot to you, and that's the only criteria. You can mourn however you want.
So maybe she meant a lot to a lot of people. Who knows?
I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me in any world that Queen Elizabeth II meant a lot to Indian people. It doesn't make sense to me. It does not.
We do have some crazy people in here, dude.
I want. Okay, so I'd like if you were one of them who mourned Queen Elizabeth's death, I want you to take a second and mourn the freedom fighters that made you type that story. You mourn the freedom fighters that fought for freedom, and so you can freely talk, freely give out your speech, have freedom of speech, and have democracy, biggest democracy in the world.
Democracy. That's a great word.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's
a
very interesting word, man.
That'll take the
it
podcast
has been
duration
deviated
to
a bit too much from its intended meaning, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting word.
I have a follow-up question, but I don't want to ask it.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't want to ask it because I think we've been fairly political and
no, I think we can let one slide.
Do you think India is not a true democracy?
For that, I'll have to counter question you one thing. What is a democracy?
Where people vote a leader, where everyone has a vote and they choose who they want them to represent. Am I right?
Yeah, you are.
Partially.
Then by that definition, yes. Yep. Yeah.
Maybe what is your definition?
No, I think I share the same belief. I share the same view. A democracy, I think it's a very... how should I say this without sounding completely politically incorrect? I don't. So I think I'm going to skip this. But yeah, we are a democracy, sure. Definitely. Moving on.
Okay. I had a lot of pizzazz or sassiness into that answer. But yeah, moving on. I would like to ask you something personal.
Yep.
Tell me about your dating life. This is very out of the blue, but you want to listen to this?
I mean, I would want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much as I would like to share on camera, because I wouldn't really want to share anything on the camera, to be honest. But
yeah. But we're here.
But it's been good. It's been good. I've had good times. I've had bad times, just like every other teenager, kid in the early 20s. I've had a serious one.
Mm-hmm.
I've had non-serious ones. I think it's a good experience. I think everyone should date. I think that's a very bad advice because everyone knows it already, but it teaches you a lot about yourself, being with someone else. It gives you a lot of idea about another person's perspective towards the world.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty important. And even if it ends, which it does when you're young, usually, more often than not, then I think you made a lot of good memories. Yeah. What about you? How was today for you? I think you had a good day today.
Yeah. I met a new person, and I do intend to keep meeting new people, and
That's good, man. That's great.
because it puts me out in the world. It makes me open to so many more opinions and perceptions and point of views, and I love to talk about anything. I love to make conversation with new people, and I've only dated someone for once in my life, and I was 13, 14 years old. That was 7 years ago. I was 14, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So I dated her on and off for a year, and we were obviously very immature then. I made mistakes and she made mistakes, and I would also like to apologize for those mistakes, but then again, I would expect an apology too. So I'd just rather not talk about it.
The whole dating app culture is so, promoted.
Oh, I have a great story for that.
Because I'll tell you why. I lost a bet. So I lost a bet. And since I lost the bet, what I had to do is set up a profile on one of the few dating apps which are popular, right? So
yeah, speak a little closer to the mic.
Yeah, so I got on the dating apps and I made a profile, matched with 2 or 3 people. One was a good conversation. The other 2 were pretty bland. Honestly, my entire problem with the apps are that it does not feel genuine, right? It feels pretty forced, personally.
Fair enough.
Experiences could differ, but from a limited 48-hour interaction and usage of the app, everything felt really forced. And I'll be really honest with you, I am at that stage in my life. I really don't want to talk about Netflix shows anymore, man. I'm done, bro. I'm done.
Netflix shows?
I don't want to talk about Friends, man.
What is your favorite show, Friends?
Bro, I'm done.
Do you like Friends?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. And why are you talking to me about the weather, man?
I love Phoebe.
I love Phoebe. I love Joey. I don't care.
What are you doing? I don't know the phrase. I just made a fool of myself.
No.
I made a fool of myself.
I'm being honest about it. I can't blame them.
It's an alright show. I don't want to give it too much.
Nothing's wrong with the show, bro. But is that going to be a conversation starter for the rest of your life? Is it down to that? I'd
say after today, I'd say that I lead out every conversation by saying, I have a podcast.
And that's what I'm going to do.
I have a podcast. So maybe that's what they have in their personality. They kind of share an image with themselves, with series. I don't want to question that. It's hard to get your head around that really these 6 people who live in a New York apartment, 2 New York apartments is center of your life.
Like I said, nothing wrong with the show.
Fictional as well.
Yeah, definitely. The show's great. Nothing's wrong with the show.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie. I don't have a favorite. I know it sounds odd, but the one movie which I watched a couple of times in the last few months has to be American Psycho.
Sigma.
And why is that? I'll tell you why is that. Because I watched it for the first time last December.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen it prior to that. And I don't know, I really find that movie to be really funny. And a lot of memes are also inspired.
It is supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a comedy movie. So when Christian Bale, I'm so sorry. Christian Bale and
the director. If he's watching, he's going to be a fan.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be watching. So when Christian Bale and the director of American Psycho were shooting, they thought it was completely banter. After every scene, they would rewatch the scene and they would laugh at it. And it was a flop. The first time it came out, it came out in 2000 and it was a flop. It was a complete flop. No one liked it. Very badly critically acclaimed. No one really liked it. But 20 years down the line, everyone started loving it. How does that happen? 20 years later.
I think some things take time to really click. It happens to a lot of times in music.
Yeah.
We see that because of, so one good thing about the whole new reel era is that it popularizes a lot of songs which might have been forgotten otherwise. So I think sometimes some things click a bit later. And speaking of American Psycho, I think the movie, the name of the show was inspired by that movie.
Yeah, we actually had you can go ahead. It was his idea.
So the movie's name is
podcast.
The podcast name is going to be Live from Dorsia. We thought it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The whole premise was that since we're live from Dorsia, you can't get a seat at this show. We're kidding, you can get a seat at this show, but that was the premise. You can't get a seat at this show. And the whole Dorsia concept which was shown in the movie was pretty interesting to me. Everyone was so desperate. Those guys,
and it
those
exists. It's a real place.
No, but those accountants and those guys in the movie, they had a lot of money.
And someone told me that they actually like that in real life. How cold in their gaze is.
Yeah.
How cold their emotions are.
Yeah.
And how baseless and how unidimensional the way they talk is, it's actually real. It's been perfectly depicted in the movie of how investment bankers are.
Yeah, you can get a hint of that from.
I don't want to put down anyone, but that is what someone told me.
I think it's too late for that. We've already offended a lot of people by now. If you're
I don't
still
think so.
listening.
I think we've been fairly reasonable with our opinions. And again, what we're trying to do here is trying to challenge yours, trying to rethink your opinion.
Just inspire people of our age and just any age. And as age is not a factor, to be honest.
Yeah.
That maybe try doing things and try saying things which you're not supposed to, lawfully, of course. But
Like the Adani thing. Don't say that Adani is a criminal. That's a bad
don't
thing.
do it. Don't do that. Don't say that in Gujarat, especially. Don't.
If he won't come, Modi will definitely come. I didn't say that.
Who are you? I don't know you.
Who?
I don't know you.
No?
Are you here? Where are we? Moving on. So yeah, movies, great topic. Shows, great topic. As a
You don't ask mine. I feel like a podcast host here. I'm not the host. We both are.
let me ask you, what's your favorite show?
My favorite show is The Boys.
The Boys.
The Boys. What?
Oi.
The acting, the plot, the acting,
And the plot.
and the plot. It's amazing. I would definitely see someone like Christian Bale or Jake Gyllenhaal act in these kind of shows if it would ever come to the big screen. And the acting, everyone who's acted in the show, especially the Anthony Starr who plays Homelander.
Yeah.
My God,
And okay, who's your favorite character?
Homelander.
Homelander. Mine's Butcher.
I mean, he's cool, and he's basically the protagonist. Is he the protagonist? Huey is the protagonist.
I think Homelander is the protagonist.
I think
right?
Huey is the protagonist.
Oh, Huey is the
protagonist.
Right.
But Homelander, though, I genuinely feel.
I like the way he makes the viewers uncomfortable.
I genuinely feel anxious when he's on screen. I genuinely feel, okay, don't say anything wrong. Let this guy just be.
Yep.
Let him talk to his son. Just let him be. I don't want anyone to die. And he makes you anxious. The acting is phenomenal. If you hate a villain, he's done it
They did something
phenomenally.
right. For sure. Yeah,
One of the villains that has always.
I think this is a kind of a show. The Boys is a kind of a show which is much needed in this whole Marvel-dominated era. Nothing against them, great movies.
No. They have fallen from the pedestal.
They have fallen
from
entertainment,
grace.
right? They have their audience.
I saw I saw the new Doctor Strange.
Oh, that was a bit mid, I would say. It's mid.
Depressing.
And appropriate,
Depressing, man. Depressing. Such great potential, you know.
But that's what happens when you're pumping out movies like that, right?
Did you watch She-Hulk?
I haven't, and I don't plan
to. Me either. I'm not gonna watch that movie, no matter what. Or the series. I'm not gonna watch series.
I won't watch it because I've heard bad things about it, even though that should not be a reason in today's world to not watch something or do something. But I just don't feel it, when you see a trailer, even though trailers are spoilers more often than not.
Talking about things that you've heard are bad from the critics and general public. I actually did like one of the movies that was not critically acclaimed and everyone hated it.
Which one's that?
Batman or Superman. I love that movie.
I'll have to disagree with
you. The cinematography, Hans Zimmer's score. I'm big on cinematography. I would go to a movie by researching who the cinematographer is and who the director is. I do care about the actors more. I don't get that. I do care about the actors a lot. But it was a beautifully crafted movie, and the director's cut, which was released after, provided a lot of context that was necessary and was cut out from the theater cut.
See, my problem with that movie was I went to the theater to watch it. My problem was that in the first half, the movie was so dark I couldn't see anything. I know it sounds pretty trivial. It sounds very naive.
No, that's true.
I really couldn't see anything, man. You're going out to have a good time with your friends or your family, whatever. You can't even see what's happening.
I did have a headache. I'm not gonna lie. I did have a headache. It was a 3-hour. It was a torture on my eyes, but it was Batman or Superman, man.
I mean, it's a good movie. Definitely not the best work, but a good movie for sure. But I still think when it comes to superheroes, nothing beats The Dark Knight.
Superheroes, yeah, for sure.
Nothing beats The Dark Knight.
I'm so sorry for taking this to The Dark Knight to Brahmastra.
I haven't watched it. I still have to.
I am so jealous of you.
Are you jealous of me?
I am very jealous of you because the VFX were amazing. They have put in a lot of hard work, a lot of resources.
Here comes the punchline.
To make a good-looking movie.
Yeah.
But you could see that their audience, the target audience, is 5-year-olds. That is why they hired a 5-year-old to write their dialogues.
Is it so?
I think
Why do you say that?
I heard Alia Bhatt say "I love you" in the most awkward situations I could ever imagine, and I was.
But
that's
her husband, right?
No, a guy she met 4 days ago.
In real life.
A guy she met 4 days ago.
In real life.
Yeah, but it still came out unnatural. They are married, and it still came out unnatural. I was just hugging myself in the seat and watching the screen and go, why are they saying
But
this?
that's
This
what
is so
happens, right?
inappropriate.
If you go from a movie where the score is of Hans Zimmer directly to Ramastra, it's not going to feel the same.
The thing is, cast was amazing, actors were great,
Yeah.
and somehow the writer made because the writer Shah Rukh Khan looked like a bad actor. I don't think that's possible. I don't think in any movie
Why is that not possible?
Shah Rukh Khan's a phenomenal actor, man. Have you watched Desh?
But everyone can have bad movies, though, right?
Yeah, that's why Shah Rukh Khan has not, taken up a lot of projects, because he has been very selective with his projects now. He said that he wants to choose scripts that are worth his time.
Yeah, yeah.
And which will cause, long-lasting image of him.
But don't you think that's what everyone says in a way?
It is.
I think
you're
a good actor. I think you're a good actor until you're not. In a way that
I'd say Salman Khan is not a good actor. I'll go off the bat and say,
bro, you're gonna get yourself killed, man.
My name is not Ahaan Mans.
Definitely not, and I don't know.
I live in Ghaziabad.
Yeah,
that's where you'll find. That's where you'll find me, somewhere in Ghaziabad.
Somewhere very close to Ghaziabad.
But I don't. He's a shitty actor. He's a very bad actor. Shah Rukh Khan is.
But I think what I would like to say in his favor is he has his audience and he knows what sells. And if you actually go inside a day one show, a Salman Khan movie, people are louder than cricket and football matches.
Yeah, they're whistling.
People are cheering.
Hooting. Yeah.
People are whistling. Why is that? It's a cult, right?
Bro,
it's a cult.
I saw Salman Khan got topless and 50 guys lose their minds.
That's powerful, right? That shows
they lost their minds because this guy got topless.
That's the power,
we're
right?
really speechless. We're
but
speechless.
that's the power, right? That's the power of having a cult-like fan base. That's what Apple is, man. That's what Apple is. That's what PlayStation is.
That's a very good topic.
That's what Louis Vuitton is. Do you think those same star shuriken-like prints on every bag and every shirt, it still sells, right? No hate, it still sells. It's
you
a
can
cult,
hate.
man.
You can hate on someone. You can give your full opinion.
Yeah, you can. I do. I like to do. It's a very fond habit of mine to say what I have to and then say no offense.
That's why we're sitting here.
I think it's a good way to say what you have to and still lighten up the situation in the end. So yeah, that works.
But would you have you ever bought something extremely expensive that your father gifted you? I mean, you generally bought something expensive and you showed it off a bit. Let your friends know that.
So you're asking me, have I ever bought something for the wrong reasons?
No, but have you, shown it off for the wrong reasons?
Yeah, I have. I definitely have.
Like what?
I wouldn't name it as such, but more than that, to add to your question, I've definitely bought stuff just because other people are buying it, so that I don't feel like an outsider. I think it happens to the best of us, right?
I think that happened to me when I was very young, and because of peer pressure. I was actually in a lot of peer pressure to get a DSLR as well. I have never clicked a photo in my life. I have never clicked a professional photo in my life and I wanted to buy a DSLR.
I recall the product which I had to buy because everyone else was. It was an iPod Touch 4th gen.
Oh my god.
10 years back. 12 years back.
I had an iPod, but the oldest one.
So yeah, it was the cool thing. Everyone had it. Everyone was buying it. Everyone was showing off the new iPods and the new covers and the new Angry Birds and Doodle Jump and the Fruit Ninjas of the time, the Ninjumps. So yeah, we all have done that. We still do it, consciously, subconsciously. So I think we do buy things in order to fit into our social circles. Believe it or not, we do it a lot. It happens with the phones.
Yeah.
We don't need a phone that expensive, do we? It's not a show-off thing. It's more of my friend has it, so I have it. All my friends have it, so I have it. Is there a logical reasoning behind it? Probably not. Does it matter? Probably not.
Do you think that's what drives a lot of consumer purchases for luxury brands?
Yep, it does. Definitely. People are taking out loans and buying stuff from LV on EMIs. I've seen that with my own eyes. Why would you do that? But I've seen that with my own eyes.
That hurts
Part
my
of the
soul.
cult.
That hurts my soul. I mean, the people who can carry it and people whose life depend on buying luxury stuff like connoisseurs and
look,
critics.
Look, man, do what makes you happy, right? Like,
Yeah, do what makes you happy.
who am I or
Oh.
who are you or who are us to say anything? Do what makes you
We
happy.
are 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds who are just right out of college and don't have anything else to do. So please,
Not much,
please,
not much.
please take whatever you're saying with a grain of salt. And again, don't be triggered. Don't be offended. That's all we have. That's all
I mean,
have
if
to
you
say.
want to be offended, at least watch the whole video. We want that view at least, right? Give us the
Yes.
views because they have removed the dislike button for people like us.
Yes.
So I think we're in good hands. Thanks, YouTube.
Yes.
Thanks for
please.
demonetizing us. I'm saying that in advance.
No, don't. We haven't done anything to demonetize us.
Yeah,
Except
not yet.
except Adani buying our channel.
But we need to stop saying that name. It's like Voldemort in here, man.
Yeah.
We don't say that.
Who am I? What is
Who
it?
are you?
What?
Where are you?
Huh?
Are you here? You're not at my place for sure.
Where's your place?
I don't have one.
It's nice. The weather's nice in Monaco, right?
Monaco. Yeah.
The weather's amazing.
And how was the race?
I never saw it. I don't have an interest. No, but actually, I really coming to F1. Do you watch F1?
I have watched F1 for the wrong reasons. And I enjoyed it, honestly. I enjoyed it. I even bought the F1 game. It was fun. I had this random Arabic guy screaming inside my ear when I dragged him off the track. So that was fun. And yeah, it's a good sport. It's a great sport.
Yeah.
But I still need to dive into the deep technicalities
So
of it.
I remember going for the 2012 or 2013 race that happened in India.
Yeah,
Noida.
where Vettel won.
The Vettel won every race that happened in India.
Yeah.
And I remember as I kept getting closer to the racetrack, the engine noise kept getting louder, and you could feel it beat in your chest. And it's the most majestic thing. If you've witnessed F1 live, you are blessed. You're blessed. And that is why I'm a big fan of F1. I support Ferrari, but I know they're having a bad
So
season.
about F1, I would like to say this one thing. I think a lot of the new fans became fans when they
Because of
saw
Drive to
the show.
Drive
What's
to
it called?
Survive.
Yeah. I've seen like one episode.
It's good.
I still have to watch it.
It's good,
yeah.
but it's very inaccurate.
on my
It's
list.
very inaccurate.
It's
and
inaccurate.
It's very inaccurate. It's very inaccurate. It shows inaccurate rivalries.
How so? Without giving off any spoilers.
It shows inaccurate rivalries. It shows inaccurate details.
But that's why it's a show, right?
But it's a show about, it's a documentary. It's not even a show. And if they're giving us inaccurate details, then it's not a documentary.
Yeah.
Then it's a tale. So Netflix has to, saddle up because they have gotten a lot of traction. Netflix has gotten a lot of traction through F1 and F1 and likewise for F1 as well. So they need to have some kind of responsibility and make better content, make true content to the fans and to the sport as well.
I think Netflix is doing a great job in propelling sports into even bigger heights in India. For example, one would be F1.
F1 was not popular.
And after the Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen it though.
So NBA was popular in our country before also, of course, but the numbers shot up. As I read an article about it, that after that show, people used to wake up at 6, 7 a.m. and watch the early games in India more regularly than before. So I think having shows like that really helps growing a fan base of a sport where there does not exist a pre-existing fan base, if I may, right? So I think NBA has become really big in India and F1 has definitely become really big. And all I see is Verstappen fans. So I don't have so much knowledge about the sport, but I still used to root for Lewis Hamilton because he used to win. And now there's something wrong with the car. I don't know, man. I sound like a lame man.
The thing is,
but
since
what happened?
He's reigned the sport for 7 years straight. I mean, Max Verstappen won outright, plain and simple, in an inferior car.
I don't think so, bro.
In an inferior
that last
car.
race, I watched that.
Okay,
I watched that.
Okay, that might have been a little bit of a mishap, but yeah, it happens. It happens in the sport. It happens with every sport.
If you still ask me what happened in that last race, I might still not be able to properly explain it to you, but I still felt something was wrong. Does that make any sense?
It happens in every sport where a rule has been taken in dire situations, and it might not have come in favor for the opposition.
Yeah.
And that happened with Mercedes. It didn't come in favor with them, and they have been fairly lucky.
But no hate towards F1. But don't you think this sport, like, there's so much control with the guys who are watching the cameras? Like, what do we call them? I don't even know the term.
You guys, what the directors?
The directors, right? Don't you think the race director has too much control?
Of course he does. I mean, he has the safety in hand.
But how do you ensure he's not biased? I think even the previous race director had to step down after that incident.
Oh yeah, there is a new director in F1.
Yeah,
there's a new
makes
director.
Makes sense, right? It only makes sense.
Maybe I don't want to question directors because they keep the drivers safe, and that's.
No, but I think it hampers the spirit of a sport. This happened with the Premier League.
No, 2021 was the most entertaining season in F1 in a while.
No, as a viewer, definitely. But if you are the racer, it's not cool, right? Sure, we had a lot of masala to say the least.
If what Michael Massey did in the last few laps, let the back markers go ahead and unlap themselves, that happens. That happens in most races. But if you didn't do that, then Red Bull fans would have been sad. And then you would be coming with the same conversation and saying that in the other opposition and saying that this shouldn't have happened. The back marker should have been.
But see, as a person who's not like a strict fan, what I see is that it is a sport. They're racers, their cars, their teams who spend their entire year into making their team what it is. And then there's this race director who has so much leverage that he can do anything he wants. I mean, sure, there are umpires in every game. And, speaking of the English Premier League and football in general, this is something which, in my opinion, has ruined football to an extent because we have the VAR, we have the online, the replays and so much accessibility. Every time the referee is a bit confused, he'll like call the other guy and he's like, what happened? They'll see the replays and, okay, the goal is now offside. Now it's not a pen. Okay, it's a penalty. It's not a penalty. It takes out the realness from the sport. Are we playing video games, man? I have nothing against games. You know it. I love games. Grew up playing games. But there's a difference, right? There has to be a difference. And the mechanical aspect needs to be differentiated from the real sport. Else it's not real anymore.
But I don't really watch a lot of football, so I can't really have a lot of input in this. But do you think it was much different, like from the past seasons?
I mean, earlier, sure, you can make the same argument which I made for the F1 race director thing, that the referee could be biased, as the refs have been biased in the past. But just stopping the game and going for a replay, it kind of kills the flow, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Maybe it's not the most practical way to approach things, and maybe now it's more practical than before, but it kills the spirit, man. Kills the realness, in my opinion. But sure.
Talking about killing realness in a sport, IPL. Keep watching the Indian Premier League.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I'll be really honest with you. I want a legalized IPL betting format.
There is.
Is there? No, like, not those games.
Okay,
like actual betting.
I understand. No, I know what you mean.
I don't think it's legalized. Actual betting is not legalized in our country, is it? I'm not talking about those games.
I've seen a lot of ads on Instagram for actual betting. I don't remember the names, and even if I did, I would not take it on this podcast to kind of advertise them.
No, see, I'm not promoting.
I wouldn't advertise the wrong
I have my gambling tendencies, but the thing is that there's so much betting involved in cricket and sports in general, but in cricket there's so much betting. It's also believed that the former captain of the Indian cricket team, the Captain Cool, is one of the biggest match fixers. Did you know that?
No.
Allegedly.
No.
Allegedly.
You can't make those claims because I love Dhoni.
I don't wish to hurt your feelings.
I love Dhoni, and I don't take this. I don't take this lightly.
It's a very popular allegation, if I may.
Is there any proof to what you're saying?
That's why it's an allegation.
Okay. So you're just phrasing someone.
Yeah, I'm phrasing someone else. I heard it from a guy who heard it from a guy. It could be wrong, but it's pretty interesting.
So I have a story for you.
Yeah.
So a friend, it's not related to sports, or it's not related to any entertainment or anything, but
yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I can say it. It's kind of discretionary. So
we'll beep out the names.
No, I think I'm not going to say it. I'm going to talk about someone else though. So talk about the entertainment industry. Do you know who Brendan Fraser is?
I don't.
The guy who was the protagonist in the Mummy movies in 2000s.
Oh yeah, I've seen the movie.
And George of the Jungle as well.
Yeah.
So he has been very inactive in the past 4 or 5 years. He's gained a lot of weight. So I'll tell you what happened to him. He gained a lot of weight because of a disease. I'm not too sure. I'm not aware about.
Yeah.
Then he put sexual assault allegations on someone, which somehow came back to him and ruined his career.
Okay.
And
that's rare. Yeah.
And then his wife left him. Then he had to pay $900,000, something like that, for alimony.
Too bad.
And he's just been suffering. He's just been suffering alone, silently, and has been taking a hiatus for 4 or 5 years. Now he's back, and he got a standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival, I think. But he got a 5 to 10 minute standing ovation, and I'm just so happy, man. That guy's a king. He killed mummies. That guy killed mummies. There's no one else who killed mummies. Maybe Tom Cruise, but the Tom Cruise mummies were CGI. You can search that up. He has a friend, which is a gorilla. It's a gorilla.
Was it Harambe?
Too soon.
Too soon, okay.
Too soon. R.I.P. Harambe.
Rest in peace to the greatest silverback gorilla that has ever existed. And that's another famous personality that made me feel bad. And I posted a story for him. I didn't post a story for the Queen, but I posted a story for Harambe. Yes, I did. I stand by it. And I'm still sad. There's a phrase which we want to shout at the top of our lungs, and we probably will when the recording stops. But if you know it, say it for us.
Oh, right off the bat, when was the last time you actually cried though? Harambe was sad, but when was the last time you actually cried? Because I remember very well when the last time I actually cried. Cried properly.
I think it was last year, November.
I don't want you to overshare, but why did it happen? I don't want you to overshare, but
it was a very bad trade.
Okay, there's no judgment. That's fair enough.
Yeah, man.
That's
I
fair
did,
enough.
bro. I did. Because I was new and I was naive. And I made a bunch of money and then I lost it. It's sad, but it's humbling. Yeah. What about you?
Dogs. I cried when I lost my first dog. I got him when I was 10 years old. And I had him till I was 19. It's been 3 years now.
Yeah.
No, almost 3 years now.
Yep.
And it was a very sad day. I didn't cry throughout the whole day when we were about to bury him. No, cremate him actually. We cremated him. And I didn't cry throughout, but when I was throwing away his vaccination cards, it broke me. And the worst part about having a dog is them passing away too soon.
And exactly that's my point. That's why I never intend to have one. I know it sounds pretty shallow, but it's something which scares me.
That's fair. There's a lot of emotional burden when you lose someone like that.
Bro, and not just that, not just when the dog passes away. I think when you have the dog, you have to take care of him. And the dog is a family member, right? It's not just a pet or an animal. It's a family member. Both my parents have had dogs when they were young, but it's something which even though I wanted to at some point, but now that I think about it, I think it's very difficult for me emotionally to have one.
Not cats though. I hate cats. I don't understand the whole hype behind cats.
Bro, people even keep turtles, man.
I would actually keep a tarantula.
You know, cats eat you if you're dead. Have you heard that?
I think even a dog would, man.
Dogs don't. A dog never eats his own owner. And there have been stories that when a person dies, a dog owner dies, the dog usually dies with them. Like stays there or whatever.
Because of sorrow?
Yeah. But the cat,
that's deep.
The cat ends up eating the person. Okay, I haven't seen it. I don't have any evidence to support it. But I've read this on numerous
You would have
forums.
been a very questionable man if you've seen it.
Definitely, for sure.
I would make changes in my life if you had seen a cat eating a man.
This could have been a last episode for what it's worth.
My last episode, not yours. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, cats are just emotionless, relentless. They have no sense of affection. I've never seen a cat being affectionate. I have some friends who have cats, and I've never seen them being affectionate or being people friendly. So I don't know. I don't know the point behind having cats.
Never really had a pet animal, man. There was one time we had a fish bowl, and they were like, I don't know if they were goldfish. They were like 4 or 5 small tiny fish.
So
and I was a bit young. I didn't know that the oxygen runs out in the water, and then they died. All of them died.
That's hilarious. That's how do you didn't know that they need oxygen?
No, I did know that, but till the time I realized it, they were dead, and they didn't die all at once, man. They didn't die all at once. They died one by one.
So you noticed them slowly dying one by one, and you did nothing.
Bro,
about
I was
it.
a kid. Used to
You did
come back
nothing
home.
about it. Okay, you're dying.
Bro, you used to come back home,
so
play Call of Duty for 14 hours a day. I didn't know what I was doing, man. I was like, oh, a fish died, too bad.
But I would not have a fish
But
because
it wasn't an aquarium though, right? It was just a bowl.
yeah.
They won't die in an aquarium, which has an oxygen tank and everything.
I've had an aquarium. I've had fishes for a while because of vastu reasons.
Oh,
My
very interesting topic.
My family keeps they have a combination of fishes. So you keep 5 goldfishes and you keep 1 black fish. And fishes are weird because they have cannibalistic features. So if they're very, very hungry, they'll eat the other fish's eye out.
Makes sense.
Makes sense?
Yeah, man.
Sure, why not? But that's why dogs are perfect. Dogs are perfect.
Yeah, dogs are great, man. Great. I would keep one someday.
Any breed in your mind?
I think I would like to keep a French bulldog.
I like to keep a German Shepherd. One.
Yeah,
I want a dog which can.
I think Dalmatians are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I saw the movie when I was young, and ever since I've been a fan.
I've always wanted like a big manly dog.
That's what she said.
Is it? That's very weird. I would say that. We just passed a 1 hour mark, so that's a huge.
Did we already?
Huge achievement, man.
Bro, that's nuts, man.
Huge achievement. 1 hour mark.
I'll be honest. I'm just now starting to get more comfortable. In the beginning, I think I was a bit more hasty.
I think as we rewatch our own, tell everyone around you how easy it is to set up a podcast.
Oh, very easy.
And you just need a little bit of effort. You just need to get out of bed. Buy a couple things.
Step 1. So so I'll go through that. So what we did. So earlier the most important thing is to have, if you're not doing it alone, and if you're doing it with someone else, you need to have a person who you have some sort of a synergy with, right? If you're cutting each other off all the time, it's not going to work. Luckily, we have known each other since college and the first year, and whatever synergy we have developed, it's enough that we don't cut each other off every second, every minute, even when we're not recording, and even when we're having a normal conversation. So that's the first and foremost thing. Secondly, we're just recording from our phones, man. We have microphones. We got the microphones. I had one. He got one. And we're just recording from a phone. And we have a light, a ring light. We plug everything into the laptop. This is a table. This is a cup. We're set.
And there's a name.
It's a name. It's the Cuppa Joe Show.
The Cuppa Joe Show. Remember that. And the editing is the most hard.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge, because earlier what we were trying to go for is to have 2 cameras, so that when he's speaking, the camera's on his face. When I'm speaking, it's on my face. But we thought that since we don't have someone manually switching the cameras, it's going to be tough.
We're just beginners for that, and I'm pretty sure as if you guys keep giving us love, if you guys keep watching us and wanting more, we will definitely.
And what we would really appreciate is that, just leave comments. Like, don't like it, don't do anything. Just don't even watch the full thing if you don't want to, right?
No, watch the full thing. I want you to listen to all these interesting conversations. And
no, but my point is that just leave comments in a way that maybe I was speaking a bit too fast. Maybe one person was not so audible.
We want to improve.
We want the technical feedback. Maybe certain topics which you don't want us talking about. Maybe some topics which you want us to talk about. So I think all feedback is greatly appreciated, and we learn again one step at a time. Yeah.
Again, I would love everyone to kind of challenge their opinions. If you don't accept if you don't agree with us, we're not out to get you.
If you don't like us, send us a DM.
Yes,
we would love to have a conversation. Maybe we can change that.
No, and maybe you can change our minds. Maybe we can change yours.
Maybe you convince us that we start hating ourselves. Not that we don't do that already.
No, but like the main premise of sharing opinions and starting conversation is to. So am I. Speaking for an hour straight.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
It's hard. But speaking for an hour straight is hard. But the main idea of creating conversation and talking about important topics is so we can create change. We can create a movement. So the very first thing in how you create a movement, how you create change, is talking about it.
And more than inspiring other people, I really want to inspire myself in a way that I don't think right now in life at 22 I'm at that spot that I would inspire the people, but more than that, I would want to journal my life in a way, if that makes any sense. This kind of documentation, right?
Yeah.
We're going to watch this years from now and we're going to, yeah, this happened, that happened. So I think those things are pretty important in hindsight. So yeah. So we'll record this, we'll watch this, we'll learn a couple of things about us. Our friends who will hopefully watch it, they'll tell us a couple of things that we didn't know. So I think it's a great experience and it's never too late to start. I think I'm glad that finally we were able to start it. I thought this would never happen. I'll be honest, I thought this would never happen.
Oh, me neither. So when we first talked about it was like, okay, yeah, you know what, we're just speaking. Yeah, this might just happen. This might happen, but it's mostly we're just making conversation.
Yeah.
And it's something we all really looked forward to, and we always wanted to have our own podcast because
for sure.
we are expressive people, as you can see. So, but then again, it never seemed like a possibility that we would sit here with lights on our face and the camera pointing right towards us, which is very weird because I'm a bit camera shy.
Are you?